We're on a journey. We started by having an ethos of everyone matters, everyone helps and everyone succeeds. Trying to make that happen in a real sense day to day is something I'm very passionate about.
I'm Dylan Brownlow, I'm 14 and I have ADHD.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Either an actor or a mountain biker. Like Jim Carrey, like a comedian actor.
You think of yourself as quite a little comedian as well, don't you?
Yeah.
There are very successful people in the world who have got ADHD, neurodiversity. It gives you a different way of looking at the world, and actually that's something we should celebrate and build upon as a school.
Personality. That is the question.
ADHD is a neurodevelopmental condition. There are three main features of the symptomology of ADHD: inattention, hyperactivity and impulsivity. The biggest impairment of ADHD isn't the H, it's actually the A. If you struggle to regulate your attention in situations, it makes it very difficult for you to be able to achieve in schools all day.
Tell others how your brain works.
It's kind of like a flood of thoughts. It's like having bicycle brakes with a Ferrari engine.
The cornerstone of what we need to be doing with schools is to teach children and young people with ADHD how to stop and think and self-regulate.
When you're ready, off you go. Go.
People don't think about executive functioning impairments with ADHD. Executive functioning is your ability to stop what you're doing in order to pay attention to an activity and then use goal-directed behaviour to do that activity until the end. If you can't do that, you can't really achieve in education. In the UK at the moment, we are at 3 to 4 male diagnoses to every 1 female diagnosis. The reason why girls get missed is because everybody thinks of the H, hyperactivity. Some of them will be highly impulsive and hyperactive, but a lot of them, their main impairment is the inattention.
Diversity in life is important, isn't it? But actually it's about going out, living a life, being a decent human being and, supporting each other.
Some of the strongest schools that I have visited and worked in terms of ADHD, firstly, are schools that talk about neurodiversity to their whole student body.
We've provided additional training, professional development around what ADHD is, how you use various strategies in a classroom that might be worth trying with ADHD. We've also used our teaching and learning groups to look at different needs that young people have and different strategies staff have identified with the individuals. We give support sessions to the students around mentoring. We also supply teachers with a special educational needs plan for each student, so those needs are identified, so it's not a guesswork when that young person walks into the room.
It's 3 parts: to get the young people to understand their condition, okay, to get them to accept the condition, and thirdly, to help them to self-manage their own ADHD.
Dylan is really aware of his own ADHD and can talk confidently about it, but they can also then put a lot of pressure on themselves to manage that. As the time goes on throughout the day and the week, that can become quite overwhelming, and it's allowing yourself to have those conversations and say, do you know what, I'm having a bad day today, I need to go and have a minute, I need to have a break.
The second point is, does every teacher has been trained in ADHD and do they understand? So is every lesson geared towards ADHD?
I just think, where can I sit Dylan where he is able to concentrate, but if he does feel like he's getting a little bit worked up and needs a break, it's also not going to impact the rest of the class. When do I need to stop talking? And I think about that a lot. When do I need to stop and give them a chance to speak and move around? They've got to feel like they have a little bit of control and choice in the matter so that it doesn't become frustrating.
I always say to teachers, talk to the children with ADHD as if you can at the beginning of the lesson. Say, there's going to be 4 times in this lesson when you're going to be up and moving and talking. But there are 3 times in this lesson when I need you to be sat down and concentrated on this activity. Always invest the time to talk about the plan before you do the action. Break it down, put in milestone reviews so that you are constantly going back to the young person with ADHD and saying, how's it going? Let's think about, you've done that bit, let's think about this bit.
Quick movement break, can you go and run round and get all the things off the wall that you should put all those folks in?
All students are going to benefit from a sensory break and a bit of a movement break anyway, aren't they? So it's not just catering to that one child anyway, because it's going to be useful for everyone in the room, including the teacher.
So a task list can be really helpful, especially if it's a subject that a child with ADHD doesn't enjoy or has a negative opinion of. So a timer can work really well, to think if you can work and concentrate for this period of time, then just stop and have a minute and have a bit of time moving around. Having things looking a little bit different can divert their mind to think, oh, this is something new and something interesting, rather than it always looking the exact same.
Understand very clearly that they need to move in order to focus and concentrate.
Students with ADHD can be quite dominant in that lesson and in that group, because they have got, like I said earlier, that burst of energy.
And I think it's about having the confidence as a teacher to open up those discussions with your class, and giving that pupil the confidence to open up that discussion with their class, where actually I don't want to be the class clown, I don't want to be seen as a disruptive pupil, I just want you all to understand me.
You've got to trust your TA. I think there's a lot of trust involved. If I see, for example, Miss Mather speaking to Dylan, it's that understanding that I trust that conversation needs to take place.
You've got to realise that these TAs have a lot of knowledge and they have a lot of ideas, and to use that to your advantage and work as a team as well.
The medical term for ADHD is dopaminergic dysregulation. So you are less inclined to be motivated by long-term rewards. I ask teachers to consider when that child walks into your room and they've got a diagnosis, say to yourself, what is in it for them right now to concentrate and focus? But also, I always say, take the long view. So when they're starting to respond to that and they're starting to give their concentration, then let's take the rewards away. So we are moving them towards self-management.
So I'm happy with that, and you were respectful of me, so that's 4 out of 4.
First period, I got a great and an amazing and 4 out of 4. And so proud, can't forget that.
We have quite a fluid CPD structure. We're an academy, so we have 7 inset days. Teaching's a very busy job, and actually staff are better for having that opportunity to reflect and think and talk with their colleagues about what life is and what their practice is. We've also had a recent assembly where we've had an ambassador from ADHD, a world-ranked golfer, young guy, come in to talk to the students and just share his experience, about how difficult school was, but that hasn't stopped him being successful in another way. Actually, there's more to life than exams, and there's more to life than being successful at exams. So we try and celebrate that and identify those young people and celebrate it.
It's very hard to bring up a child with ADHD. If we educate parents to bring up a child with ADHD, understanding the condition and putting strategies in place, that will be incredibly beneficial.
My advice to newly qualified teachers: be patient, look for strategies, support them. They will want, every child wants to do well. So it's about considering their need and trying to work out, actually, if it's not working for you like this, what can I do to make it work for you? But that takes a lot of hard work and time.
They don't just use ADHD as an excuse for everything. You can't just go, oh, I've just done something bad, oh, it's just my ADHD. Things like getting distracted and like fidgeting, yeah, that's ADHD. Winding someone up, that's not ADHD.
And so that's when you've got to take ownership of it.
Yeah.
The more passive and sedentary they are, you're actually working against their ADHD. Well, let's harness their hyperactivity. Let's get them to be as active as possible and get them moving in lessons and use a variety of strategies to achieve that. They are moving in order to concentrate and focus. Well, you can go to our website, the ADHD Foundation, and there is a lot of resources on there, and you can contact us directly, and we will offer support to schools and teachers.
Our partnership with the ADHD Foundation has
Yeah.
been really beneficial, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Just to go to some of those conferences, and you'll find with many disabilities there are charities that work particularly around that one, and that can be helpful rather than it being vague a lot of the time.
Anything else?
Have a nice day.
Thank you.